I am Mandujano, and I am here to win a world title.
I'm Hansen, and I'm here to win a world title.
I'm Juliana Korver, and I am a 5-time PDGA World Champion.
I think these courses are really good for my game. They suit me pretty well.
I tend to play within my abilities. I tend to be pretty conservative, and if conditions are difficult, that might serve me well.
I feel like you more have to adapt your game to the course. And I feel like this week I've worked really hard to do that.
There's not a whole lot of holes I'm not trying to birdie, pretty much trying to birdie everything.
I tell you my realistic goals. I need to internalize those and play for the joy of the sport.
It's also to mark my name into the sport. I feel like winning a world title will do that, and that's huge for me because I know I will set a lot of records.
Welcome everyone to the 2022 PDGA Pro World Championships presented by Dynamic Discs. I am here. I am Leah Sinagini, and I'm with my co-host
Jennifer Allen. Welcome everyone. We're gonna get it kicked off here in Emporia at Jones Country Club.
So this course is a par 68. It's just under 9,200 feet. It plays a long track. We have several signature holes here, and hole 1 is one of them. We have the pool C with us, the FPO C pool, and hole 1 is a par 3 291-foot island. You can choose to lay up in the front part where it says 150 feet to the pin. And then if you choose to go for it, you have to land on this tight island. It plays pretty much, if you don't make the island, it's a bogey. They changed the drop zone from DDO to make it a 40-foot putt for par, but it's still a tough putt to make.
So big decisions off the first tee. This is the calmest winds that we've probably had here. JK is going to still try to just go with probably her JK AVR, laying up and going for par.
Second to tee, Paige Pierce.
Playing for par on this one, laying up on the drive is a smart play. It does bring double bogey into play if you happen to mess up on your upshot. So some players, and it seems like Paige Pierce is going to do this, choose to run the island off the tee.
Yeah, we have a couple island shots this week that you have to decide that, you know, the bogey, like you said, drop zone, you can still find some trouble, but at least you're going for a putt versus possibly risking another OB stroke.
Paige missed the island. Let's see if Valerie can make it.
Catching that little bit of a tree there that's blocking the last little clearing zone. It's a pretty big area, but those trees on the right will sneak in with that hyzer line. And with the winds, the playing it towards the right is a little more favorable of a shot to stay on the green. Ella puts a lot of hyzer on that out of the hand.
Ooh, so close.
So 3 of the women will be going to the drop zone.
This hole played as the 4th most difficult, not because of the length of the hole, but just because of how hard it is to land on the island safely if you go for it.
Great bid, leaving herself probably about 18 feet left for par. Most of these women will be trying just to probably lay up for their tap in.
Ooh, Valerie gives
Ooh,
it a good
she
bid.
tried to prove me wrong, but as you can tell, it was very close to going over the top, and that's really not something you want to risk on the first hole.
Ella also plays it more conservatively, like Paige.
You know, it is the first hole of a long week, though. If you're going to go for it and risk a lot of things, it would be better probably to do that now versus on Friday, I believe, when we play this again.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday. One of the days. We're here all week.
Juliana gets in for her par and takes a stroke on the card right off the bat. If you ever get a chance to walk on this green, it's these rubber pellets, so they're
It's a
kind
new
of bouncy.
playground, recycled tires, and they are definitely strange to walk on. Hole number 2, we have our first par 5, 888 feet. Drives are going to get out around that tree there on the right, and then you have to decide placement if you want more on the left or right. 400 feet left to the basket from there. A lot of guardian trees in the way that we have to work our way around. Low ceiling, OB left and right, OB all over this course. So very difficult, even being a par 5. Par is a good score on this hole. Great safe drive for Juliana. So pushing the distance and trying to bite off a lot can find some trouble if it doesn't come back. Paige is going to be safe behind that tree on the right. So 400 feet left to the basket for Paige. Valerie going right over there with her. Just a little bit shorter.
That is the safer miss to play it out to the right. If you're gonna miss, definitely want to miss right instead of going OB left.
Well, there's OB on the right as well, but I think depending on what angle you want for that second shot. So they're gonna have kind of a straight, late fading shot to the right here, as Valerie's showing, versus Ella's gonna have a totally different kind of angle approach on that second drive. And it's a drive.
Ooh, that was close.
You can also play it out towards the edge of the pond and kind of get away from having to throw the next shot, your third shot in the trees, but you risk, if you hit a tree going over the pond, that shot dropping OB and you basically rethrowing from your lie.
Because Ella's over here on the left side of the fairway, she leaves a wider window for her to hit. The tricky shots come on the second and third come from the ceiling. There's a lot of trees that give it a lower line than you'd like to have.
Second.
That was a solid shot from Valerie.
I think Valerie was remembering playing possibly we're talking a foot placement.
Ball's been made. I've seconded it.
I didn't
looks
see
like
anyone
someone
call it,
called
but
a
the
foot
marshal seconded it. So possibly a stroke there for Valerie. So what he was talking about is that foot placement has to be in the line of the basket. I thought Valerie might have misthrown towards the MPO basket because we played that in mixed doubles. I thought possibly she might have kind of released towards where the men throw, but apparently her foot might have been on the wrong side of her marker.
Interesting.
Paige catching a little high, gonna knock her straight down, no trouble, but just leave her on a longer next shot towards the basket.
If Valerie foot faulted, she would have had to have been a good, like...
It almost seemed like maybe she was on the side of it, not past it.
That's so interesting. I wonder if we could see that again. Paige with a good approach.
And that's a difficult situation. We all are, try our best to play by the rules, but it puts us in a hard situation to make those calls on our fellow card mates and friends, most of us. Great birdie by Ella.
Like Jen said, this is a great par, so to get a birdie on this is definitely gaining a stroke on the field. It averaged half a stroke over par and played as the fifth.
And Juliana sneaks in a sneaky birdie. She did that very quietly. 4 beautiful shots.
This hole had 5 birdies on it.
There was 2 of them.
Yep, and we saw
I
2
possibly
of them.
was another.
You did get the birdie. And that's a great one. With the penalty, that's Valerie with a bogey. That is so interesting. I wish I could have seen that.
An idea, a spark. Creativity is the lifeblood of ingenuity. The thought, a catalyst to progression. We create to inspire, to provide quality of mind. Because without the mind, the body is nothing. Without the body, the mind is nothing. Thought space. Elevate your mind. Elevate your game.
This is hole 3. It is a 557-foot par 4. Right now we have us flying over the water. This is a really long shot, probably about 400 feet or so. So you will see most players laying up to the left side and then shooting across the water on their second shot. Once you get across the water, you'll have anywhere from 150 to hopefully a birdie putt in the circle. We have a lot of long throwers on this card, so I'm sure we'll be seeing some great shots on the second one.
During practice, I looked at it. I think to clear, it was going to take a good 430. And that's a lot to risk because you're basically, well, I guess you go to the drop zone. You don't re-tee. But I would have to say 99.999% maybe. Yeah. Women are going to lay this one up. We want to land over there by the drop zone. That gives us an open look for a big hyzer in there to the basket. So I would have to say easy birdie, but definitely a gettable birdie, even laying up off the tee. Paige is going to catch that a little high, but this first shot is basically your up shot. So she should be able to clear that even from where she landed.
Exactly. If you throw a good tee shot.
Valerie's going to be pushing OB. Yeah.
Oh, no.
So you have to be careful throwing that too far and too much to the right. It does OB line pretty tight on the left side as well. We flirted with that a lot when the winds were high for DDO. So Paige is probably going to have about an 80-foot to 100-foot putt there. So even though she hit short off the tee, we can reach it. We just need that little extra to get over the pond there. Ella clearing it easily as well. It looks like inside circle 1's edge. Juliana proudly claiming she's in her 50s and she can still crush a Frisbee better than the rest, just the whole field. Like, it's incredible to me. I know being 40, I can tell a difference. So I can't imagine how it is. She's incredible shape.
And those were 3 beautiful approaches. They're all going to be putting in the circle. That looks like a tap in for par for Paige.
Ella left that just a hair short. This basket just a little higher up than where she was. Good
And
save.
That's a great par save for sure.
So a lot of these pars give us a little room for error, but tons of OB out here. Beautiful birdie putt by Juliana.
She's got that birdie going. And we just got through the 4th, 5th, and 6th most difficult holes. That's a tough start for the field.
That's funny. I assumed the back 9 was a little harder than the front. That's interesting looking at stats.
Yeah. Yeah, some of them might be tied, so we'll see when we get to them. So we played under par on this one with 1 birdie from Juliana and the rest pars.
Hole number 4, we have another par 4. This is 615 feet. We want to get a nice safe drive out to around this area, and that's still leaving us 400 feet to the basket that sits just to the left of this big cedar and past that little tiny skinny guardian tree there on the left side. OB road behind, OB left and right, all the way down the fairway. So Juliana's looking for a nice drive, just punching it out there. Again, depending on your angle of approach, I would think a lot of us kind of tend to want to be more on that right side where these women are throwing.
Yeah, that gets you away from that left guardian
tree. Yeah, a little
tree.
second shot, a little bit easier. You can go big hyzer if you get far enough down over that cedar tree. Paige likes to throw big hyzer. She might do that, or putting it in a placement shot for a good forehand shot around the cedar. Beautiful drive by Valerie, getting it out there right in the middle of the fairway. We need that to turn a little bit more. She's gonna.
Oh, that's close.
It did kick it out. Okay. Oh.
That's the guardian tree we're talking about.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that OB opens up on the left. She may be close to being safe.
Leaves it a little low, but she's at the edge of circle 2.
That looks pretty stable. It's going to go left.
Paige got up there. She's throwing a putter.
I bounced it off the top.
Wow.
I thought I was going to get an eagle on this one. I've never came so close, I don't think, to getting an eagle on it.
So Ella with the furthest drive, she throws the forehand there.
Which is a great angle to get into this basket. I just happened to be in a spot I could throw a straight shot at it.
That's awesome.
Unfortunately, I bounced off the top of these trampolines. JK putting it underneath. Valerie doing the same, trying to make that next putt easy. She's going to be right outside that bullseye.
Ella cut off her approach just a little bit. Enough for a tricky putt.
Paige still has it. Good, strong bid for birdie.
And that's from circle 2. Great putt.
That's a range I feel like she always strongly goes for and is usually very successful at. That like 35, 40 foot range.
For sure.
Like I almost felt like I was about to say this is going to be in for sure. Like
she has a lot of confidence from that distance.
Mm-hmm.
So Paige with the solo birdie there, she'll take the box. This is hole 5. It's a downhill 317-foot par 3. You have several options. You can take straight down the gut, or there's a right side righty hyzer line. One change from DDO is that we have a shorter pin placement and this OB little creek. It's in the circle, so even if you go OB and you're going straight at the basket, it's pretty much an easy circle 1 putt for par.
Yeah, that's like 2 feet from bullseye there. And it's about 2 feet wide.
Yeah, it's very narrow.
So very easy with this downhill slope to go long. The grass is thick though. It'll catch you and you'll end up a little short. Those trees, you definitely have to get low to get through them. Mm-hmm. Paige playing it nice and safe. I think that orange circle flag was for the men's placement, but she shouldn't be but about 40, 45 feet away.
Yeah, she's probably in circle 2.
That cuts through everything and goes right near the bullseye. Beautiful drive. She probably would have liked that a little bit lower for comfort, but I mean, that was the line.
Ella also chooses to go straight at it like Paige, but she keeps it low, too low.
Yeah, and that's just a mind trick because these branches come up so quick. So the straighter route, you have to keep it low, and that the ground kind of comes up there. It's kind of like a little bit of a rolling hill. So too low of a shot does exactly what Ella did, and it just catches that grass, and it's not going anywhere when it hits. So just outside circle.
I think that mistake comes from the little OB part. You know,
Yeah.
She's making sure she
You do
clears
not
it.
want to land it short.
Oh,
Great bid to save par.
another circle 2 bid missed. That's super unfortunate to see, but we know that Juliana has the skills to make that. I don't think she's going to be doing that again.
Yeah, and again, just like you said, you know, it's basically you have to pretend that that's water right behind that basket. So 15 feet away from that basket. So if you miss high, and like I said, you can bounce off the top of these so easy. If you hit high, you're jumping.
Yeah.
And so you leave it a little low, unfortunately.
No birdies, unfortunately. We see everyone with a par, Ella with a bogey.
They say, like, you're the greatest of all time, but in my mind, that is not true. There are 2 other women that I'm tied with. Until I get that 6th world title, that is still up for debate. So this is so important to me to cement my name in disc golf history as the most winning woman to ever play the game.
You can join the Ace Run Pro podcast group, and $3 a month. They do monthly giveaways. Become an Ace Runner. $3 a month. Give these guys some love. We are at hole number 6. This is a par 3, 315 feet. You want to clear this pond, and there's a few guardian trees that can actually give you a mean kick and kind of bounce you back OB. A safe play, there's a bailout zone on the right side, which is also brings in a little OB as well. It lines the right side of that fairway that they will lay up on. Tricky hole.
Yes.
That is actually birdieable. So you have to decide right here if I'm going for it. This was the most difficult hole on the course. That's surprising stat.
Mm-hmm.
Paige plays it safe, goes a little long, just outside circle 1 edge.
I think the tricky part from the drive too is that uphill that you have to throw over. It kind of causes you to go a little bit more nose up than maybe you'd want to, and could leave drives a little shorter than the island.
Yeah, and that, like I said, is a tricky bailout area because there's OB left and right of it, and it's a pretty narrow like runway. I think also a lot of us were traumatized from the 40-mile-per-hour winds at DDO, and so it's kind of tricky with a calm condition. Oh, we don't know. Maybe in, maybe out. Probably in.
Got the green.
But, you know, you kind of have that nightmare of like how hard this hole was when there was like ripping winds, and pretty favorable soft winds today that you could really go at this. Ella puts it just inside circle 1. So Juliana played it safe, but again, now your upshot is very tricky. Still have lots of OB that can come into play. And she puts it just outside bullseye, maybe about 18 feet or so. Unfortunately, Valerie probably, oh no, she did, he ended up giving her. So they marked the line about 3 feet in from water's edge this year. And the lip of the pond, I would assume the water's really down. So unfortunately what happens is everyone hits up and kind of rolls down past the marked lie. But I believe Valerie was safe, so she's just getting her meter inside. And she's going to pitch it up there to hopefully tap in that par putt.
And this is a dangerous putt with the water behind the basket.
Perfect day to go for it, though.
Wow. She is dialed in on those C2 putts.
Running it back one more time. Hits it just in the sweet spot.
And she had air on that. She went straight at it. If she goes past the basket, it could very easily go OB. We got a number of birdies on this hole, which means that a lot of probably double bogeys and maybe even worse than double bogeys came from either laying up or going OB on a second or third shot.
And that's exactly it. You just have to decide. So it's kind of like birdie or bogey hole, really, because like we saw Juliana trying to play it safe, but unfortunately that upshot is almost harder than just going at it off the tee.
Yeah, and that drop zone is no joke either.
Correct.
Two birdies, one par, one bogey. This is hole 7. It is a 704-foot par 5. Don't let the distance trick you. This is a good 4 to get. There's an option to lay up short on the drive or go for it over an OB little ditch. Then you want your second shot to land somewhere around here to give you a shorter approach. You can hyzer around this cedar and go into it or go straight at it from the left side. There's an OB road on the left that also is tricky to throw around on that second shot.
This entire hole is lined with OB, kind of like the course is. Paige trying to bite off a lot of distance. She keeps it in nice and safe just next to the road. That's going to open up a decision for her to go hyzer on the next shot or the straight shot at the basket and bite off a lot of distance.
She could even eagle from there.
Yes, this hole is definitely reachable with a couple of good shots. Ella playing it safe right down the middle. The hard part on the second shot is that first huge cedar likes to grab a lot of your disc.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy putt from underneath it. So like Leah mentioned, that little ditch with the tall grass is OB. So we want to clear that and then punch it around there. So Valerie's probably trying to throw that next shot short. She's not wanting a lot of distance because she's trying to stay away from that tree. Wind's picking up just a little bit for us. Juliana's going to try to stay on the right side of the cedar so she can see the basket on the next shot. Ella has the distance to go for the basket here, so we might see a big hyzer around the cedar.
Let's see if she
Always
can
like
get
it when I
around
guess it right. She has the distance for it for sure. It just catches up on that right side.
She should be able to get her birdie from there, no problem.
Paige going big hyzer, trying to get over that tree. Unfortunately, she rolls underneath the other cedar. But that one is easier to putt from. So Valerie laid that short so she could have a nice shot out. She snags that tree as well, but it kicks her on the outside edge, so she'll have putt just outside circle 1. So when picking up here, she will probably again take that hyzer route. If you're close enough to the road, the turnover or kind of straight line at the basket does really tease you. But if you hit or it doesn't hold the turn, you're going OB. So the favorable shot is taking the hyzer route over that tree. That second cedar just really comes up quick. So it's catching, and I think a lot of people know how hard it is to putt from the first cedar where Ella is, and she will not have much from that spot. Looks like she's probably gonna have to punch a roller out. That's how ugly that tree is. So I guess if you're gonna hit a tree, the better tree to hit would be that second one that everyone else ended up at. Ella has a good roll out.
Paige lining up her putt from the second cedar, and close. Looks like a tap in birdie.
Nice!
Wow.
Running that one back for sure. I think some of those putts that you don't have a clear spot to the basket really allow you to punch them a little more aggressively because you don't expect to go in, but when they do, man, it feels good.
For sure. And she was just tall enough over that branch too. Popped it over.
Yeah, as you can see,
Valerie
height difference really comes into play. Flag at least kept her there. These baskets without a flag can be very dangerous. Ella's still tapping in her birdie.
And Paige gets hers too. So 3 birdies on the card. And a bogey for Valerie.
Here we are at hole number 8. This is a par 3, 329 feet. Tricky hole around these few little trees, and definitely that last guardian tree is definitely a guardian tree. Really protects the angle to cut in at the basket. OB road to the left. A good distance for a lot of the women on this card, but I've seen a lot of people kind of struggle to get to circle 1.
Mm-hmm. It plays, there's a slope from left to right, so it's kind of trying to match the angle enough so that when you're skipping in, it stays in the circle.
Yeah, and that's what I saw a lot of drives doing, is hyzering out just a little too much. So I don't know if we're thinking maybe 330 is playing, maybe it's playing just a little bit longer than we think, and these are hyzering in early. Ella has some good distance there. She played it right underneath and in front of that guardian tree perfectly. Juliana trying to play around the tree and just doesn't get it to hyzer back as quick as she wanted to. Valerie does the same thing. I think this wind is kind of picking up a little bit. Maybe it's not affecting the disc as much as we think it is, but when you hear the wind, sometimes it can play some mind games with you. Valerie just pitching up for that tap in par.
There have been a few times playing this hole where there was a tailwind, so they might have just been trying to flex it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful, strong birdie putt by Paige, just inside circle 1. Ella almost taps in. She had such a great drive, but she grabs the birdie as well. And both Juliana and Valerie are going to tap in their pars. And we are almost through the front 9 of the very first round of the 2022 Professional World Championships.
The earth expanding, right hand and left. The picture alive, every part in its best light. I think heroic deeds were all conceived in the open air. I think I could stop here myself and do miracles. I inhale great draughts of space. I am larger, better than I thought. I did not know I held so much goodness.
This is hole 9. It's a par 4, 524 feet. It's a shorter version of what we played at DDO. This is almost, to me, it's a must-get birdie. You throw it out straight or maybe a turnover shot to here, and then you have a pitch up to the green, probably only, less than 200 feet approach. So
yeah, I think it's at about 150 feet once you get around that big tree right in the middle. So it depends if you want to, how tight you want to keep it to those cedar trees on the right. The OB on the left will come into play. This crosswind is playing perfectly to get a long turnover shot, just like Paige is showing us. She's going to be out there in the open for a good placement to pitch up for the birdie. Ella likes to throw rollers. I was curious if she would roll this hole, but the wind plays for a beautiful long fading turnover. OB on that right side as well, so you can't turn it in too hard.
She might be cut off a little bit, but with her forehand, she should be able to throw a hyzer around that.
Juliana pitched out to a good shot right in the middle of the fairway. Kind of plays in a valley here. MPO will be playing what FPO played at DDO. They switched this up.
Valerie took a straighter line, which opens up the approach. She can choose to throw a backhand into the green or a forehand.
Left it just a hair short. That hill comes up pretty quick.
This is what I mentioned. So the basket is blind right now, but you can throw a hyzer around this tree. And she does it well.
So Paige is going to have the most open approach here. She is going to be jump putting from circle 2. Got to get over that branch. Oh, so close.
That could have reacted and landed OB. So that it's fortunate that it stayed in bounds there. So Paige went for the eagle, caught up on this tree, and now she's got a longer putt for birdie.
Tap and par, no harm done. Yeah, the trees, they do open up the OB a little bit, so you can get into that very last cedar. Valerie, beautiful putt for birdie, catching that right side chain. Ella throwing in her birdie 3 as well.
And that's 4 birdies in a row for Ella.
Good string to finish out our front 9. So there we have it, 9 holes. We have Juliana at 2 under, Paige 3, Valerie 2 over, and Ella at 3 under as well.
Thank you all for joining us here in round 1 of Pro Worlds. Here's our leaderboard. We have Hannah shooting hot at 7 under so far. Wow, that's impressive. Jen Allen here, 6 under. Woo woo.
A lot of golf left out here. Stay tuned for the back 9.
Thank you for joining us on Ace Run Pro. Make sure you follow them on Instagram at Ace Run Pro and on Twitter, all your socials. And thanks for supporting the ladies.